no, it can be the denouement. We don't have to have major stuff that happens after this.
We've shared a lot about our story in spoiler videos here on this channel, but recently we came across a part of the story that we have decided we're not going to share, even in a spoiler video.
It's a part of the story that we think is important enough, and there's enough misdirection involved. And there was a third thing I was going to say. Oh, you had mentioned how it was a part of the story that when we came up with it, it surprised us. So we're pretty sure it will surprise our readers as well. And so we want that same type of, the same feeling of surprise for everybody as well.
Yeah, so last week, I think you remember a couple of videos ago, Nathan had made the observation that as he was reading through our story and trying to figure out how to summarize it, he realized we really don't have a climax to the story. There's no real major point where things get really bad and then resolve from there. And when he mentioned that, I realized he was right. So in our previous meeting, we spent some time just figuring out what exactly is that?
Yes. And we think we've come up with a very good solution to that problem.
And we're not telling you.
We're not telling you. But one kind of hint to that answer that we can give is that what ends up being the major problem that they need to overcome at the very end is something that in the beginning of the story is just a neat little quirk.
Yeah. It's something that we've written about. I think we might have even shared a little bit about it in a couple of places. And we just thought, well, that's the way it feels like time travel ought to work for us. And it just felt like a little detail. Okay, this is just our unique take on things. And it turns out it's a little more important than we thought it was. And like he said, it was a surprise. And the fact that it surprised us suggests that there's a good chance it'll surprise our readers.
And I don't know if we want to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Uh-oh.
This problem does appear in a scene that we have shared, and it does appear as a little bit of a problem. Not nearly as big of a problem as it's going to be at the end of the book, but if you feel so inclined and you want to go and look back at all the scenes we've shared and try to figure out what problem it is we're talking about, feel free.
Yeah.
But
we won't tell you if you're right.
Yeah, we won't tell you what video it's in either. But in addition to making progress on the climax, we also made some progress on the denouement, the tying up of loose ends after the climax. And it is a scene that for a while now, I wrote this scene as the beginning of the denouement. And as our story has morphed and changed over the months, we got to the point where we thought, well, that scene can't be the denouement because there's stuff that has to happen afterward, plot stuff and some conflict, and the climax has to be after that. And in our discussion, we realized, no, it can be the denouement. We don't have to have major stuff that happens after this. And so we can have this really nice, bittersweet moment that we wanted at this part of the story in this part of the story.
And one of the other things that I really like about the way things turned out last week is that with all of this, it kind of just so happened that it was very fitting for this part of the story, this climax of the story, to involve one of the main characters that I thought we have kind of neglected in our exploration. We didn't really have a lot of story for her, and this gives her a lot more prominence. I think we still have we've got 4 main characters. I think we've mentioned that in some of the other videos, but now we're getting to the point where, okay, we've got 3 of them that I think we're treating fairly well. We've got 1 more that we're still awfully neglected. So.
Because a lot of our main characters have kind of their own personal story as well as their story as it relates to the other main characters. Mm-hmm. And I think this third one with the new way that the climax is going, it gives her her own story. And our fourth main character that you mentioned that still feels kind of neglected, he has story as it relates to other main characters. He doesn't really have his own part of the story yet. And I think that's something that we need to find, and not sure where that's going to be yet.
Yeah, we do have some relations with him and some other characters, and how some of those other characters are related to some of the main world level happenings. I can't think of the events. That's the word I was looking for. But it's not. There's some opportunity there for us to develop his story in more detail. But we just haven't. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yep.
But that's what's been going on for us. That detail that was surprising to us at how much more important it was than we thought it was. So our question for you this week: in one of your projects, what's a detail that you thought was insignificant but turned out to be crucial, or at least more important than you thought it was? Let us know that in the comments, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks.